All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today's video is all about the new Sony Fx2, which is weird. We have the Fx3, we have the 30, we have the 6, we have the 5. Fx2, where is this coming from, Sony? So let's jump into it right now. No fluff. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. So there was a rumor posted that I guess is kind of official specs from Sony rumor sites. And let's just kind of jump into this because I'm actually coming from Terry Warfield's page, how he was talking about how he hates the leak culture. And honestly, as a consumer and somebody who hates surprises, somebody who isn't a part of any sort of like affiliate. I mean, I've been shooting Sony for over a decade now, and I've never been brought to anything. I've never worked with them on anything. So coming from a creator's page who has worked with Sony, has been to Kendo, has been to all these other events, talking about this, and knows some insides from other camera brands, I think it's kind of ironic in a sense because somebody like myself, I hate surprises. I also hate when companies, say they're coming out with a camera and they're pushing it back for like silly reasons. The the Sony a7 IV, which we've been waiting for 3-4 years now, something like that, has been pushed back because they want Canon to release a camera first so they know how to price the camera accordingly. And pricing right now for all camera companies and everything else is just out of whack. Anyways, thanks to Mr. Orange Guy in office. And let's just jump into the specs of this camera and go back into the whole leak culture and talk a little bit about that. Again, me personally, I like the leaks. I like to be, the leaks actually get me excited about the camera. And I think that's what the purpose of leaks are, right? Because a camera company, we know when camera brands release cameras, right? It's usually quarterly. It's usually during a certain period. November is a huge tech time. They usually come out around that time, all that stuff. If you're in the space and you're a camera nerd, you're a tech nerd, you know what's going on or that something is going to be released. And sometimes a lot of companies like Fujifilm, for instance, Fujifilm is a huge person that might do a tease, right? They've been teasing their new Fuji half frame camera for a couple months now, and they haven't posted anything other than a small little picture of it. They did the same thing with the RF as well. They will tease you and then have this kind of build up to the release. Some camera brands don't even do that. They just drop cameras. Sony, for instance, dropped the FX3A, which is basically just a rebrand of the FX3 so they can keep selling it because they needed to change one small thing, just like they did one of their other cameras back in the past. But yeah, I'm totally ranting. Let me go ahead and jump on the Sony rumors page and we'll talk about the specs and talk about what is this camera all about and who is it for and why. Let's go. All right, jumping in, I'm on the SonyAlphaRumors.com page and it says Sony Fx2 with a tiltable EVF to be announced May 28th. A tiltable EVF? Like, that's wild. I mean, one, it's a cinema camera with an EVF on it. That's really weird. So maybe it's gonna be able to tilt to do like top-down waist shots or something like that. So you can kind of do like one of these. I don't know. I mean, EVF is your electronic viewfinder, but it's where your eye goes. It's not the tiltable screen. So to me, that's kind of confusing, but interesting at the same time. Let's go ahead and just read a little bit of this. Sony will finally announce the first E-mount camera of the year. It's going to be the Sony Fx2. This is sort of the Sony Fx3 with an integrated EVF, or you prefer the A7C Mark II FX style. So what this really sounds like, because they're using the same exact sensor that's in the Sony a7 IV and the a7C Mark II, which is a great sensor, honestly, but for a cinema camera, kind of weird because it has a higher resolution. If you guys don't know anything about cameras, basically the higher the resolution you go, the worse it is in low light. Normally, I shoot on my Sony a7R V all the time in low light and it crushes it still. People say the video on here is terrible, but I think it's great. It's my main camera. I think it's one of the best hybrid cameras that Sony has ever put out. and I will stand by that. Okay, so 33 megapixel sensor, we talked about that. It's got the AI chip, which is gonna basically give you the AI, autofocus, all that stuff. Integrated tilting EVF, and this is where it's weird, right? It's big, so it's gonna be a bigger EVF on an FX3 body. 4K Super 35, that means we're still getting 4K 60 with a crop. Why? Why are we still getting a crop with 4K 60? Like it's 2025. 32-bit float audio. That is interesting because if you guys know what 32-bit float audio is, it's basically clipless audio. It's like a raw audio format where you basically have more threshold to be able to raise it up if you record too low, or if something is too high, you can pull it down and you won't clip. It's not entirely clipless. You can ruin 32-bit float audio. So if you're gonna roast me in the comments about it, go ahead, I don't care. All right, next one is the body is thicker than an FX3. So I think they're putting like a bigger fan in it or something like that. It's cooled with an FX3 body, active ventilation, same ports and storage as the FX3, and it's priced around $3,500. That right there is huge. $3,500 for this camera. To me, it really just sounds like an upgraded A7C Mark II and an FX3 body. And Sony is known for this. Sony is known for taking these cameras and making a few small changes, and that's it. And it'll sell like hotcakes, right? Me personally, I think it's a great camera. It's not really for me. I'm primarily a photographer before video. Yes, I shoot video as well, but my main area of focus is photography. So I'm really stoked for the I'm really stoked for the Sony a7 IV that will come out whenever Canon puts their camera out, so Sony can price their stuff out and figure it out, all that stuff. But yeah, let me read this a little more. The camera is aimed especially at film students and content creators that need that Cine E-mount camera that can do it all. Unlike the FX3, you get a nice EVF, and you also get the 32-bit audio that will support, and you never screw up your recordings, which is not entirely true. You could still screw up 32-bit float audio. Trust me, I plugged into tons of DJ boards that absolutely killed my 32-bit audio, and it was unsavable. So don't believe it. This is important, and I'm gonna read this because it says it's important, and I do think that it is important. The Sony Fx2 does not replace Sony Fx3, and here's why. I think because of that higher resolution, the 33 megapixel sensor from the Sony a7 IV, the Sony a7 IV is great. You could still shoot it at 12,800 ISO, get a clean image. It's not a native, dual native or anything like that, but it does have natives, right? There's things about Sony that a lot of people don't realize is that there is actually cleaner ISOs through the higher range. And the good way to find this is if you put your lens cap on your camera. And a good way to find this is actually put your lens cap on your camera, look through your EVF, that's the viewfinder where you put your eyeball, right? And go up ISOs. I've noticed that every 2 stops seems to be cleaner. So on my Sony a7R V, I usually shoot it at 800, 3200, 6400, and that's usually it. If I really, really need to push it, I can go to 12,800. It's not that great on this camera, but on the a7 IV, it is pretty good still, and you can get that clean image. All right, so yeah, I mean, this is a wild camera release, I think, because this isn't something that a lot of people have really expected, but then again, it's Sony. I mean, they do this stuff. They put these cameras out that have these small tweaks and people eat it up and people buy it. To me, I don't think I'm gonna get that camera. Like I said, I wanna get the Sony a7 IV. I'm primarily a photographer. I'm interested in the specs on that. So Sony rumors, if you got any stuff you wanna leak about the a7 IV, I would love to read it. I'm all about the leaks, actually. I love camera leaks. It gets me excited about cameras. I hate surprises. I hate waiting for brands to do it. Maybe one day when I'm a part of embargoes and I'm a part of these like cool press trips and shit that I can actually be more excited to play with the camera before it's released, then I'll do that. But you know, right now all I have is Sony rumors and all these other rumor sites, and thank you guys for what you do. Your services are appreciated, at least by me, maybe not by Terry, but I love your stuff. yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for today's video. Are you guys excited about the Sony FX2? And why isn't an FX2? Like, is there an FX1? I don't think there is an FX1. I know there's a 6, I know there's a 5, I know there's a 3, I know there's a 30, and I've used all of them before. I think there is a 2. No, I don't know, but whatever. I'm not too excited about it, but I am also just excited with whatever Sony releases. I've been a Sony fanboy for a long time. I've loved their cameras. I continue to use their cameras, and this should be an exciting release regardless. But let's just get that A7 V out already. That's what we want. That's what we really are looking for if you're a photographer like me. But yeah, that's it, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I wish I had something to show you, but you guys can go check out sonyrumors.com and put a link somewhere here. You can find it. Cool. Peace.